United, a podcast for change. I am Lori trying to. Oh, there they go. My headphones were driving me nuts. Uh, I'm Lori. I am your host, and it is Wednesday, May 17th. And today we are going to talk about ways that people can find the truth in all the political and the media spin, um, and just do some critical thinking, how to maybe do some research to find out what the actual truth is, how to identify clickbait. Before we get to all that, if everyone would please like, comment, subscribe. If you feel like some new merch, we have some t-shirts up. There are links in the description for the merch store, for the Patreon community. And yeah, I haven't had coffee yet, so I'm gonna be a little flighty, probably. Uh, One of the first things that you want to do when approaching any kind of news, no matter where you get your news from, I personally really don't watch uh, cable news, especially like the opinion shows, because I don't care about someone else's opinion. So I would rather have the actual facts and then decide for myself what my beliefs are and what my position is on any topic. And that's just me. Um, you know, the first thing that I like to do is, when I see a headline or I watch a video clip, or, if I happen, because I'm not going to say that I never watch any type of cable news. Um, Sometimes I'll see clips, and on rare occasions, I will watch it live on television. Um, but one of the things that I basically check myself, is if I hear something, if I see something, if I read something, and my reaction is to want to leapfrog over a table or just, flip out. I kind of take a breath and just, okay, why am I getting upset? Like, what about this, am I getting upset with, and why? Um, you know, for example, um, the recent death of Jordan Neely on the New York City subway by Daniel Penny. Depending upon what media you're looking at, it's either, white man killed by, kills black man, or it's Marine stops black crazed homeless man, or something to that effect. Um, and just, and it's not something that, that anyone listening or watching that you need to comment on. You're free to. A lot of times, like, I'll ask questions, not necessarily so much where I'm, saying like, oh, hey, you have to give me an answer, but maybe, just something to think about. And, so when you hear the word Marine, what do you think? You know, does that, do you picture someone in your head? What type of qualities or character do you prescribe to someone who is a veteran, who is a former, Marine, opposed to crazed black homeless man? What do you picture in your head? And, when it comes to the media, their goal is to keep your attention. So the more, if it bleeds, it leads. If it has to do with sex or scandal, it's the car crash on the side of the road that everybody's rubbernecking to look at. It's the same thing with media. They're trying to keep your attention, especially in a field where there are, because I'm 50, I'm 53. I remember when there were only 3 news channels that went off the air, like, at what, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, with the national anthem, and then that was it. There was no more TV. So, now there are hundreds of news stations. There's print newspapers still. There's radio. There's podcasters. There's bloggers. There's TikTokers. There's all these different entities are vying for a limited number of people. Granted, that number of people is in the billions, but there's still a limited number. So they're going to do what they have to do to pull in your attention, and, so that they can sell ads to their advertisers and, make their money. Politicians they either want to get the job or they want to keep the job. And then they want the power that comes along with the job. So, politicians, they're going to find ways to spin things to make you angry, to make you afraid. It's, it's all along these same veins. So, for example, with the Daniel Penny, Jordan Perry story, Jordan Neely, sorry. Um, it's you can see where the different news outlets, the different politicians, where they're spinning the story for, you know, their side. Um, it's Marine. It's, Jordan Neely had over, 40 arrests on his rap sheet. True. Daniel Penny is a former Marine. True. I've seen Daniel Penny put in the same space as Good Samaritan, like from the Bible. And to take out any spin on that story, like, period, the end, 2 men were on a train. 1 man came off alive. It's nobody really thinks that Daniel Penny intentionally set out to kill Jordan Neely. However, if you accidentally kill someone, that's still a crime, depending upon the facts of the case. I mean, if you accidentally bump into someone and they fall and hit their head and then die from the head injury, you caused their death. You are responsible for that. Whether or not the district attorney or the prosecutor will, seek charges, that's another matter. That's separate. And, but the fact remains is that one person killed another. I go to a lot of rock concerts, and many times I am, on the floor or in the pit, whatever you wanna call it. Um, yes, remember that I said I'm 53. I'm old enough to know better, still too young to care, and as long as, I have cream for my back and some ibuprofen, and I can I'm gonna be in the pit wherever I can, you know? But there's times in the pit, just you're standing there in one spot, my lower back hurts or my upper back hurts from just standing, so if I'm standing there and I'm stretching whatever to, get a kink out of my back, and I, pull my arms back too hard or too quickly, there's somebody behind me. Maybe I catch him in the face with my elbow, and I catch him at just the right angle that, like, I break their nose. You know, I didn't intentionally hit that person. I didn't, look over my shoulder and be like, "Ah, screw that bitch." Bam, and elbow her or him, but I still did it. So I'm still responsible for, any damages, and that's basically all that this case is. It's Daniel Penny, his actions ultimately killed or contributed to the death of Jordan Neely. That's it is what it is, and when there's no intent to kill, manslaughter, like that's it's murder has intent to kill, manslaughter doesn't, generally speaking, and where people are, oh, it's self-defense, it was self-defense. The only reporting, and I've looked at, conservative leaning news outlets, I've looked at liberal leaning news outlets. Nowhere have I seen anywhere or heard anywhere in any reporting that Jordan Neely balled up a fist towards anyone, took a step towards anyone to, to like swing on them or hurt someone or hit someone. All I've heard is that he was having a very bad day and was yelling about being tired and hungry and thirsty, and I don't care if I go to jail. I don't care if I die. Like, I don't care if, like, man was clearly having an episode. And, you know, Daniel Penny, the excellent part of being a Marine, he he wanted to neutralize a threat before it got worse. From all reporting that I've seen, it's I've seen no reporting that there was any type of argument between the two of them. It was, Jordan was yelling, he threw down his coat, and then that's when Daniel Penny put him in the sleeper hold. You know, on one hand, yes, where you can help, where you can step up to defend, you know, other people, it's always a, that's a great motivation. It's a great quality to have, wanting to be someone, being someone that runs towards, you know, danger or perceived danger. It's a wonderful thing. But on the other side of that coin, with Daniel Penny being Marine, he was trained on how to perform these different holds, how to perform the holds, how to get out of the holds. And part of his training, includes that these type of holds, especially against, a combatant in the military sense, is that their last resort. I've also heard no reporting that no one at any time, you know, before hands were put on Jordan Neely. Yo, man, you all right? What do you need? No, there's been no reporting that anyone, tried to de-escalate, that it was just immediately hands on. And yelling on a subway train, you know, if you push it, maybe it could be considered disturbing the peace. I mean, it would probably depend on, you know, how long, what was being said, was he screaming in the face of a particular person or people? But, and even if that was the case, the penalty for screaming at someone isn't death. It's a minor, if it even rises to the level of an actual crime, it's minor. It's disturbing the peace. You know, it's not punishable by death. And the reporting about Jordan Neely's, past crimes, they make no difference. They have nothing to do with the situation. They are being added in order to rile people up, and that's the only reason why that information is being put out there. Because nobody on that train had any knowledge of his, prior arrests. And so that's got nothing to do with the facts of the case. It is absolutely irrelevant. So when you see headlines, when you hear, just off the top, the skin color of the people involved, and it's in the headline. It's one thing for it to be in the actual news article, that you're looking at, because it may just be descriptions of the people involved. So, it may not be offered for any type of incitement, or, to try to spin it, that sort of thing. Um, but when you see that, like, when you see where one party to the altercation is listed by their race and described as crazy, and the other one, no race is mentioned, and they're like compliments or good qualities are being listed next to that person in the headline. That's media trying to get you to feel a certain way. You know, the Marines are the best of the best. So when you see Marine, that whatever media company, organization, politician, whoever is doing that, where they're putting one person in just this, super positive light, and they're putting the other person, who just happens to be the person that was killed, in this super negative light, that is somebody trying to manipulate. And that's like, and they're trying to get people to feel a certain way. They're spinning things to push a position, to make you mad, to get you riled up. Yeah, and the unintended consequence of that is, the more this sort of thing happens, you begin to develop bias, subconscious bias. It's when if you see the word thug, what do you think of? Punk, what do you think of? This is, it's by design. I personally want just give me the facts. If you tell me that, a white person did this, or a black person did this, I'm not going to blame the whole race on the actions of one person. So fine, if it's just you're just describing who was involved, okay. If you're looking at headlines and or titles, why is my computer is giving me a hard time right now. You're looking at titles on videos, or TikToks, or whatever it is, or text in a thumbnail, and it's, "This was insane. So and so humiliates this other person." We look for the outrage du jour. Woke such and such, trans this, anti-trans that, groomers. And it's always in like the all caps, and 9 times out of 10, it's phrased that way to grab you by your face and pull you in. So you get the person gets the views, the person gets the clicks, they get the whatever that goes along with it. And clickbait, the article never matches the title. But it's designed to bring you in. It's using negativity to bring you in. So that's another thing, that when you're scrolling through and absorbing different types of content, it's another thing to look at. When you read a headline or a title and it makes you want to jump in, maybe, before you click on it, take a minute and just figure out, like, why is this appealing to me? Because if you're looking at a title that's talking about one person humiliating another, why does that appeal to you? Like, is that entertainment? And this, I'm not judging. This is just, you know, it's just an ask. Does watching someone get humiliated, is that entertainment for you? And if it is, maybe ask yourself why. Who it's bad enough to be humiliated, but then to be humiliated on the internet, which is forever, um, or there's a flaming headline that you don't read the article, you're just going off the headline and you go in keyboard warrior and you're just jumping and you're hollering and screaming. Why? Why, you know, do you care enough to respond, but don't care enough to read the article? Where if you read the article, you would realize that it doesn't match the title. Like what was said in the headline isn't in the article. So all that bluster and all that, anger and vitriol and hate and that you're just spewing out, which you're allowed, freedom of speech, all that, wonderful thing. But it's like for yourself, having that anger and hate and negativity, it's going to start affecting you if it hasn't already. The longer you hang on to negativity, the angrier it makes you. And it's like it's so easy to then take that negativity and pass it on to someone else. And now you've ruined somebody else's day. Or you've intentionally hurt someone's feelings, or you've, been thoughtlessly cruel to someone. And I'm a big believer in self-reflection, and just taking time throughout the year to kind of check oneself. Am I being a good person? Am I doing good? Taking stock and then just making any changes or tweaks that, might be needed. Exploring, if I'm in a super bitchy mood, put me in traffic, you'll see bitchy. Um, and in those instances, I know why I'm being bitchy, you know, but it's like, oh, you know what? Maybe I could have reacted differently to whatever, situation I was just in or encounter I just had. Why did I react the way that I did? And it's just ways of, just keeping stock and, being the best person that you can be. So if you are excited to jump in on a video that talks about embarrassing someone, humiliating someone, ask yourself why. Why is it comical? Like, and what is going on in your life that makes it so easy to wish negativity on somebody else? Um, and again, I'm not judging. I'm not trying to make anyone, feel picked on or bullied. But this whole Like, we can't make anyone feel bad. Isn't that the same thing as, like, giving out participation trophies? Feeling feeling bad is empathy, it's compassion, and those are good things. Those are great qualities to have. There's a difference between feeling empathy and compassion and feeling guilty. Those are two different things. And, just because someone feels bad about something, it's not necessarily a bad thing. If someone feels guilty for something that they didn't do, well, then that's different, and then that's something that you talk about and you work through and you get past it. Um, and that was a tangent. I will have lots of them. Um, and as for, I mean, politicians are the worst. They are everything. They just find a way to make everything political. And, you know, when you hear a politician bragging about, oh, we put through this bill and it's this positive bill and, I did that. Look up the bill, and depending upon what, whether it's state or federal, you can Google it. If you're somebody that lives in, Missouri and it's a state law, you can look up, Missouri, whether it was the House of Representatives in the state or, the Senate, the state Senate. You can look that up online and pull up, the actual law. And yeah, reading laws suck. It does. I mean, I'm wordy, but, you know, politicians, they put me to shame. I like to joke, why use 3 words when I can use 15? They use like 100 instead of 15. Um, so it can be trying to decipher and get through, but it's worth it. And, so like look the law up. Don't just go to, you know, if you're conservative, don't just go to conservative news to hear about this, the law, a particular law. Go to also the liberal news or go to, a moderate or central, nonpartisan, where you're just getting the facts. You're not getting someone else's opinion. You're just, because really all you're looking for is the bill in layman's terms. And like one of the biggest disconnects in recent US history was Obamacare. That there were conservative voters who thought, Obamacare, it's horrible and it's, blah, blah, blah. But then these same people raved about the Affordable Care Act. It's the same thing. So like that's where it's just this clear disconnect on, information that's being put out to the masses and then absorbed by the masses. And so if somebody talks about a law, look at the law, look to see who voted for it and against it. If you have somebody saying, oh, I voted for blah blah, check it. Look at their voting record, look and see, pull up that individual law and look to see who voted for it and against it. There are a lot of ways to, find that truth. Research is one of them. And research isn't going on YouTube or TikTok, you know, and finding somebody else's opinion about something. It's actually, doing some of the work. Or going to someone that you trust, that isn't gonna, lead you astray or tell you the wrong thing or lie to you. Um, I believe that we are all good at least one thing. At least one, if not multiple things. But the reverse is also true. Like, if we're good at some things, then there's probably some things that we suck at. And it's okay to suck at, we don't have to be good at everything. No one has to be perfect. Um, you know, so I just lost my train of thought. So, like, I'm I love to read. So I'm good at reading. I'm good at reading comprehension. I mean, I've been reading since I learned how, and just all different kinds of books. Um, it's something that I'm good at. And car engines, on the other hand, not so much. Uh, I can, if I pop the hood, I can go, okay, well, that's the engine. There's the battery. That's where the antifreeze goes. That's where the windshield wiper fluid goes, depending upon the type of car, and you can access it. That's where the brake fluid goes, or the steering fluid. Because I've had cars where, a person you could access that and you could put it in yourself. The car I have now, it's a Volkswagen Jetta, and I can't access that, which is kind of annoying because I don't like that's stupid. It's fluid. Just check the stick thing and see the stick thing, um, and fill it to the level and, blah, blah. I know the mechanics of how to change oil. Um, have I ever in my life done it? No. Because I have this thing of just being under a car that's lifted and having it I just no. Um, that's what my dad was for. It's what my brothers are for. It's what mechanics are for. Um, thank you very much. Please change my oil. Um, you know, so I freely admit that when it comes to cars, I suck. I suck badly, horribly. Um, but it doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me less than. I mean, okay, sure. If I'm in a contest about, has to do with like fixing cars or taking apart engines and putting them back together, I'm probably not going to do well. That's okay. Put me in a contest on speed reading a book and then writing a book report at the end. I'm your girl. So there's people that are you're good at different things and we suck at different things. It's just part of who we are as people. And I also believe that, like, the things that we're good at, we're supposed to share that. You know, so if I can read something, if you're somebody that you suck at reading comprehension, it's okay. And it's something I'm good at. You're good at cars. I suck at cars. So you know what? Let's trade. I will read, if you've got a question on something, I'll read it. I'll put it in layman's terms without, bias or spin. Just lay it out, and then finding my oil change. Do you help me with that? And we trade off. Like we're supposed to take care of ourselves and look out for each other. That's what I believe as part of a civil society. That's kind of, the agreement that we all, you know, make with one another. And I don't know why my screen keeps like going black. I don't want to know. It's just annoying. Um, but those are the kind of things that you want to maybe look at. Those are options. If you have somebody in your family or your friend group, go to them. Hey, I have a question about this. Like, it doesn't make you weak. Showing vulnerability, it takes strength to do that. It's not a weakness. It's strength. It's bravery. It's courage. Asking for help, it's not weak. So I mean, go to someone if you have questions about things. Somebody that you trust. Someone that's just gonna give it to you straight, no bullshit. Because that's all we want. And I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I've got bills to pay. I've got, I have responsibilities that are way more important than someone else's spin or someone else's agenda. I don't care about somebody's agenda. Like I'm not gonna. I refuse to let somebody else's agenda change me as a person. Where it's, if you read something and it's making you look at a group of people with either fear or contempt, hate, there's an agenda there. Somebody is trying to manipulate you for their own purposes. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. One, it doesn't mean that I'm lying. And yes, this is my opinion, but try it out. Go to your whatever your, news vehicle of choice and really pay attention to how you feel as you're watching, whether it's a news clip, a show, whatever it is. Keep checking in to see how you're feeling. Because if you're getting angrier and angrier and angrier, and you want to start making, generalizations that all blah, blah do this, you're being manipulated in some way. I mean, I married a con man, so I found out the hard way. It happens, and that's a lot of, you know, what's out there. It's they're conning. Um, but one thing, if you're ever if you're ever wondering, um, basically how, how does a particular news agency, company, whatever you wanna call it, um, how do they lean? Well, here's a good way to find out. And this all I did was I did a Google search for, like media bias news agencies or media bias news, whatever. But it's a graphic that just shows you at a glance how a particular um, news organization leans. So yeah, it tells you at the bottom that dark blue is left, light blue is lean left, looks like purple is center, light red is lean right, and then, dark red is right. So, wherever you can, look at the ones in the middle because they're the ones that are going to be closest to actual just the facts. That they're really not going to put spin on things. Um, you know, but that's a great way to and that was just a Google search. It just a, media bias chart or some such like that. Um, but it is a great way to really go through and where you can, if you see something, that's OAN, I already know going in that they are super right leaning. So I know that if I'm watching something on there and the host of the show or whatever, they start blustering about, "Oh, this is disgusting and this is horrible," and this I tune it out because it makes no difference to me. Your, cable news host, your opinion does not matter. Sorry. I don't want your personal opinion. I want the facts. And the facts, they are there. It's just depending upon how far to one side or another an agency, leans, or, you know, politicians, the same thing. It can it just can be easier or harder to find. It just depends on, where, where the provider of the information falls on that spectrum. So it's research, check your own bias, ask questions, find someone that you trust, like, if you're not good at politics and really unless you've studied it, like who is? It's not something to pick up overnight. Which is that's okay. I think part of the problem is that, you know, we're cool with the things that we're good at, but then there are people that are embarrassed by the things that they suck at. When they not about being embarrassed. We're all built for different things. If you've got somebody with a green thumb, like, they're they're good at growing things. So in a society, everybody has their roles, and that are just they're in a lot of ways they're built in. And that's why, so that it's not one person trying to do everything. It's you've got different people that are good at different things, and we all share our skills and our knowledge on the things that we're good at as a society. And that, for me, like, that's what it's about. And there's no shame. There's no embarrassment if you don't know something, or you don't know how to do something, because you can always learn. It's not like, oh, I don't know how to do needlepoint. Like, I can never have, anything with embroidery on it because I don't know how to do needlepoint. Mm, can learn how to do needlepoint, or pay someone, or ask someone that knows how to do needlepoint. Like, it's it's not that serious, you know. But it does seem like there are people that, you know that it's a hit to their pride if they don't know, and they don't want to say that they don't know, because then they're embarrassed, and they feel that makes them look weak. Um, when it it doesn't. The opposite is true. Like, choosing to, like, just, I'm not going to learn that. I'm not. Nope. Nope. I don't want to learn that. That type of attitude, that's the weakness. Like, saying you can't do something, it's like musicians that they know how to play, but they can't read sheet music. Well, does that make them not good musicians? No, or not necessarily, you know, but it's knowledge is power, and knowledge doesn't just mean book knowledge, it means practical knowledge. Yeah, and another thing you want to look out for is what I believe is the worst word or one of the worst words in the English language. And that is the word they. As in, they're coming to take your guns. They think you're stupid. They think they're better than you. How hard you work. Look at them. They think they're better. They. It's the boogeyman. They're indoctrinating your kids. They're grooming your kids. They is, and they or them think it's the bad guy. This nameless, faceless, throughout history, the other. They aren't us. They're different. They're evil. They want to do bad things. We have to stop them. If you're ever looking at media or listening to media or a politician or whatever it is, and it's they, them, and you're being manipulated. And there's no, and I don't care whether it's somebody on the right or somebody on the left, somebody in the middle. I don't care. If it's they, them, they're doing this. They're coming to get you. They're taking your jobs. They're ruining your life. It's their fault. You're being manipulated. Oh, no. No, no, no. Yeah, you're being manipulated. And it's that simple. You know, they're they're when it comes to, American people, regular people, Canadian people, just the average person going about their business day to day, we're not each other's enemy, you know, but I know that I see different politicians, different media outlets from across the spectrum that that's where the division is coming from. It is from this manipulation, and it can be a single word in a sentence. You know, stop stop buying it. I know when I realized that I married when I came to the realization that I married a con man that faked our whole relationship, lied as he took his vows. I felt like an idiot. I felt like a fool. I was humiliated, embarrassed. I had moments where I considered permanent permanent solution to a temporary problem because I was so just heartbroken, and how could I have been so wrong? How could I have, how did I fall for it? And it was a difficult time getting past that and healing from that and realizing that, you know, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I loved freely, and I didn't question things that I maybe should have. I was able to point out the mistakes that I had made. I didn't beat myself up. We're allowed to make mistakes. You know, I will take a truth that makes me cry over a lie that makes me smile every every day, 24/7, 365. Because the truth is the truth is the truth. It doesn't matter whether you like the truth. Like, the truth is the OG fuck your feelings. It doesn't care about your feelings. It is what it is. It is the truth. And searching for that truth is probably going to be one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves and each other going forward. Um, but I mean, we'll talk about it again. It's not like any topic is ever just a one-time thing here. So I do want to thank everyone for listening and watching, and we will catch you next time. Before you go, remember to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to check out the Patreon community to support the channel and support the movement. uh, if you'd like to check out the merch store, all the links are in the description. Again, thank you very much for being a part of the broadcast and for listening and for your time. It is very much appreciated. Have a great day.